Okay, everybody, good evening. This is William here. It is November 15th, 2020 at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm broadcasting to you from Fincastle, Virginia. It is the night of the new moon in Scorpio, I believe, so it's quite an auspicious night to start any new projects for those of you out there. I'd like to welcome everybody to this month's episode of the Patreon ET Whisperer Monthly Poll. We have an interesting topic tonight, and I am here with our good friend Rob Gauthier. Hello, Rob.
Hey, brother, how are you doing, and how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I had a really interesting weekend.
Yes, and I did too.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be here. And can you guys out there hear us? I see in the chat room we have, what do we got? Bigfoot Forest, the Galactic Travel Channel, Kat W, Deborah M, Carolina Chapman, and Marlene. So if you guys can hear us, let us know, because we're using some new software again.
All right, well, I'll be able to play this link and see if... Okay, yeah, we can hear the stream, so that's perfect. Hello, Bigfoot. Hello, Casey, Kat, Deborah, Carolina, Marlene. Hello, guys. Thank you guys for coming today, being live with us here. We're doing our monthly poll. You guys chose the topics that you wanted to pick, suggested them in the earlier post this month. We put those all up to a vote, and we voted, and it is tonight. The winner we got is going to be a great one too. William's got the exact part for that, but
it says here how the future affects the past, but I have to say I found some mail-in ballots over here that I haven't quite counted yet, so I'm not
not quite sure if their votes are correct yet or not.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. we'll leave it at that. But yes, how the future affects past.
It's a great topic by Casey herself, which is with us tonight at the Galactic Travel Channel. That's Casey, guys, for those of you who might be new. Hello, Casey. Thank you for the great topic.
Yes, and the what Casey had written here is how the future affects the past, going into specific examples of how future timelines are interacting with us now and for what purpose would be great. So I hope you got that, Aridif, or Treb, whoever's in there.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. A topic tonight's going to be amazing. I'm interested in it because Treb and Arnett both have talked to people about this before. I've talked to Treb about it before. So there's some general understandings, but specific examples would be amazing too. Wanted to let you guys also know tonight, us being here is a great thing. Me and Kalina just got back literally just like 2.5, 3 hours ago from North Carolina this week. As I mentioned in my post earlier, Kalina's mom was given a tough prognosis. She was given 3 to 9 months to live, and this is not public, so I know a few of you know her from the Asheville workshops and stuff, so please don't mention this to her family or anyone else. We're just mentioning it with you guys because you guys are here, your family. We know that it stays in the circle, but yeah, and it wasn't a great thing. And then she got a phone call as we were planning to head up there for Christmas because Lilith has her surgery this Wednesday, so we couldn't just come right away. She was said that months could turn into weeks. So we ended up talking to my son's mom, who's been getting Jeremy now on a regular basis again. And she was so kind and happy to take Jeremy for us to go down there to be able to spend some time with her mom. And her sister rented out a beautiful house in the mountains, gorgeous house out in the mountains in Burnsville, North Carolina, and it was actually nice.
That's a nice place.
Yeah.
That is a nice place, Burnsville, North Carolina. I didn't want to interrupt you, but we do have some more people joining us. ET Contact Center. Laura Kurt, Daniela C., Michelle Briggs, and am I missing anyone else? Anthony Soulstar 77.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Hello, ET Contact. Marlena, Laura, Daniela, hello.
Not to interrupt you. I just wanted to acknowledge these people.
I actually didn't see Son of Superman. Hello. Anthony, hello. No, it's great. I actually didn't know that they came in because I didn't have my chat on the right setting. which is something William taught me
Oh,
about.
yes.
He's a professional live streamer much before I got into it.
I forgot about this. If you guys are chatting with us tonight, whether on a phone, laptop, or PC, make sure that the chat box says live chat. If you see top chat, you are wrong.
You are incorrect. That is the wrong answer.
My drill instructor used to say that. If your shirts look like this, you are wrong. If your boot looks like this, you are wrong.
My dad was in the military, and he told me some great stories about being in boot camp. He went to boot camp twice. He re-enlisted after his first 2 years was up, and Kalina Angell, she is also here, the lovely, lovely Kalina Angell.
Yes, and I didn't want to derail you from your story about Burnsville. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, so Burnsville, we got back. Now, imagine this. Me and Kalina, the same Kalina in the chat room. Don't tell my wife, but me and Kalina have a baby together. We drove all the way over to go visit with her mom. And when we drove up there, a normally 12 to 14 hour trip, me and Kalina make it all the time to do our Asheville workshop, everything, took us 2.5 days, because every half hour we drove, we had to stop for 20 minutes to readjust the baby, or we'd drive for an hour and a half and have to stop for 45 minutes, get on the road for 5 more minutes, and stop for another 20. And we did this on and on and on and on, and finally we got there, and on the way back we ended up making it in about, let's see, we left at 9:30 yesterday, and then we left 12:30 from there. So from 12:30 to 7, about 30 some hours. So we did it, and we did it quicker than we did the other way around, but it was still a long, long trip. On this trip, I have, on the way back actually, I met this really nice guy. He's been someone who's followed my work for a couple of years. He actually has his own YouTube channel. He's kind of a dork, but I think he's all right. His name's William too. Go figure.
Isn't that weird? Yes, I think the cat's out of the bag now. I ended up rendezvousing with Rob and Kalina, and also Carolina, who's in the chat room with us right now, was in from Nashville, Tennessee. And there was a reason for that. Let me go here. You guys see the I always try and have artwork up on the screen here. And I've got a whole different one of them that have come from various artists around the time. I flashed them up. I have them labeled here. This one I have titled Retro Aridif, because it's an older version of Aridif. And then, of course, I have both the aliens up here, which you see. This is one I titled Treb Geometry. And I don't know who made all of these artworks.
I can't see them, but I'll give a quick shout out to those. The Geometry Treb, is that the one? I'm trying to see where you're at first. Okay.
Oh, he's got the dodecahedron in his chest.
Okay, so yes, the old school Aridif. That one was Vashta, Narada's first rendition when she very first started doing digital art. Then the one with the dodecahedron was Eduardo Khen, who did that one, who's a very great artist too, who has his own art page on YouTube. You should check that out. And was there a third one, or just those two?
Well, no, I have Aridif. He's here in front of and I can't even see. There's a little watermark on it. But Aridif in front of a giant star thing. He's looking all suave, like he'd been using some Pert Plus on his hair. It's very nice. And then
Pert Plus, huh?
Yeah, well, then I have this one I have labeled as Flasher Treb, where he's in this shiny raincoat.
Yeah, Flasher Treb was the final rendition of Vashta, and actually to this day, one of the more accurate renditions of Treb and how he appears when I meet up with him. So, Flasher Treb.
Yeah, Flasher.
I'm still not sure about the Pert Plus one.
No, I've got Retro. I also have Retro Treb, where he just looks like, it's another one by Vashta. I can see the copyright on it, but he's like waving and he's looking all happy.
Yep, that's the Vashta one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I put retro because it looks like it's from the early 2000s. But
yeah, it's actually when she first started her art too. Right after she did the first Aridif one, she did a Trebi one.
Well, we have a new one to add to the pantheon of Treb art, and this was done by Carolina. It's up on the screen right now, entitled "Speak Your Truth." It has Treb emerging from Rob's head, which is cracked open like a pinata, getting information from Aridif, who's in George Jetson's spaceship, talking to Treb on a tin can telephone like children would make in a treehouse.
Dude, I love it. I don't see the picture up. Oh, okay. The stream's a little behind. There it is. Okay. Now
Yeah.
I see it. I was fortunate enough for Carolina to give me the original art. So I have the actual painting here at my house, hung up on my mantle between two of Kalina's very expensive pieces of art that she bought a couple years ago when she started connecting to her own archangel energy. So she bought a couple renditions, and mine's right there on the mantelpiece. I sent a picture to William, but I haven't sent one to you, Carolina, because I didn't know how to until after I
Oh, I
got your friend
forwarded it to
request
her.
on.
I
Oh, beautiful.
ET Contact Center says Rob looks like Jesus, which is something that Carolina said as she was painting it. She's like, Rob looks kind of like Jesus.
I always called myself the fat Jesus guy. Yeah, because I got the beard and the hair. Actually, I did a poem for my dad when he passed. It wasn't really a poem, but I call it a poem now just because it's lack of better things that I could call it. And basically, it explained why for the first few days after he died, I couldn't sleep and eat. And then when I was out putting my son on the bus, I was looking up at the stars in the early autumn morning, and why I finally had that sensation of pain stop. And I went through a whole realization. And part of it says something to the effect of my neighbors come out hustling to their jobs they're not looking very excited to get to, while the fat Jesus neighbor with the kid in the wheelchair is drinking his coffee. And we're both looking at each other trying to solve the same or a different mystery at the same time. It was a beautifully done poem. I couldn't redo that again if I wanted to. But yeah, I've always thought of myself as the fat Jesus, and this actually represents it beautifully.
Yeah, I had the idea for this, although what I imagined in my mind isn't. Carolina did it better than what I imagined it, but it's and I'm gonna ask Treb and Ardif what they think of it if I get a chance, or whomever tonight, because I just can't resist. Uh, this is
I
what.
always say whoever may come in, but I don't think we've had one poll winner that Aridif hasn't come in on.
Right. Actually, this is the first poll, maybe ever, where something that I voted on is actually selected.
Really?
Yeah, I think there might have been a couple way back when Kalina was still doing the show. But I don't
I'll be
even put in
damned.
I don't even put in questions or poll suggestions really anymore, because I feel since I'm hosting, I feel like kind of take myself out of it.
Yeah, but if you got a good idea, it's a good idea. And that's the other thing I wanted to let you guys know, too. This month, I think we had four. We usually try 5 to 7. Most of the time, when me and Kalina, when you guys don't have enough suggestions, we end up. And someone did put like 4 or 5 suggestions, but we only let everybody do one suggestion. So we just picked the one that hadn't been talked about, that was highest on the list. Um, but normally, we always tell you guys, if you're interested in hearing topics that you're excited about, always look for the suggestions. We always place it between the second and fifth, usually, where we send you the link for this month's Q&A, which, if you haven't got your question and answer in for the 30th, you still got a couple weeks to do it, but get that in. It's on the post before this post on Patreon. But when we release that, we also say any suggestions you have, put in the comments, put a short title so we can copy and paste it up to the thing for people to vote on, and then you can explain a little more in depth afterwards what you mean by that. And sometimes only 3 or 4 people participate. So when they do, me and Kalina do the rest, which we don't mind, but we'd rather have you guys suggest so that things that you're interested in, you guys can hear about. So don't forget about that, guys. If you're new here, or if you have been here for a while and just haven't put up a suggestion, or you don't get the link until you don't look for anything till the 15th, because that's when the links will be up. Whatever the case is, between the 2nd and 5th, we're always going to try to get the link up there and suggestions so you guys can suggest. So add that date into your memory box. so that you can put in something that you want to get talked about too, because there are always amazing topics, but some people just haven't been able to suggest or haven't wanted to suggest, whatever the case is. But if you have wanted to and never got to it, now you know the secret how. Second to the fifth, we'll definitely have those up there.
Right. And I think, not to get derailed again, I think prints of this will be available at some point, and maybe even hoodies and T-shirts we're working on.
Yes, William has done lots of great things for his own shop, has showed me some, even sent me home with a nice little long sleeve shirt with his Spin Castle Underground YouTube channel emblem on it, and it's amazing. And he's got all the equipment to do it. So I think me and William will get some stuff ready for people who are interested in it. And this painting right here may one day be on a t-shirt or a hooded sweatshirt on your back if you want it.
Regardless, I'm probably going to make one for myself to wear.
Yeah, and for me too.
Well, anyway, do we want to get moving on with the channeling, or is there anything else we need to cover?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot just about everything that's been going on in the earth. So I just wanted to get a opportunity to tell all of you guys. For those of you who are having a good time, I'm really happy to hear that for you guys. And for those of you who've been having a rough time, I love you guys, and I'm with you there. Me and Kalina, even going through this with the situation with her mom that's come up, and all the situations we've been dealing with. Like I said, Lilith's surgery is this Wednesday, so it's somehow felt lighter for me. And for those of you who haven't got that yet, I definitely don't want you feeling like I'm rubbing that in or anything, because sometimes that's what it sounds like to other people when someone brings up good news when everyone else is going through shit. But it's coming around for a lot of people, I think. There's a lot of energy clearing in the collective right now, all the way from day-to-day life stuff, all the way to the big stuff and world affairs. All of it. A lot of energy has just really been clearing a lot lately. So if it hasn't trickled down to your personal life yet, don't worry. Just focus on the things that you want. If you can't, then just try to be in the moment. And if you can, distract yourself. Whatever you got to do to get through it. Just know that it's not just Aridif who loves you guys, and it's not just the universe that loves you guys. Me and Kalina love you guys. I'm sure William does too.
I do too.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm not a mushy guy or anything, but yes, I love you guys. Also,
He said it, guys. So,
and Carolina says she's so glad that you like the painting.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Are you kidding me? That's amazing, guys. I love it.
So
Me and Selena both love it.
Well,
Actually, unpack that first, along with the baby stuff.
the the thing is, as I've been saying from time to time, I'm trying to learn more about astrology, and we've had so much going on in the stars these past couple weeks. Mercury went direct on election day, November 3rd, after it had been retrograde for quite a while, and Mars just went direct again. I think it was retrograde since September, so Mars went direct on Friday night at 6:36 p.m., which is interesting because I wound up staying in a place called Mars Hill, North Carolina, while I was waiting to meet you guys the next morning.
Yeah, you didn't let everyone know the painstaking journey that you had to take to get just to say hi to me for a few minutes, did you?
No, you said your trip took way longer than it's supposed to. It's only like 4 hours from Roanoke, Virginia, which is the big city near me, from Roanoke, Virginia down to Asheville, and the ride took like 8 hours. Like there was a time warp that was controlling all of us on that trip. I know Carolina can vouch for that.
Yeah, I remember her saying that it was such a long journey, and you guys got back in decent time though, right?
Yeah, basically. Still a little longer than, and GPS was freaking out too. It was like taking us places that didn't exist, and
Yeah, same. We had the long way up and the long but shorter way back. All with GPS fun.
That area, though, if I can say something about that area in Burnsville, North Carolina, I'd never been there before, but everybody was so pleasant. and I don't want to go into it, but obviously, things are tense with masks and things like that. There was no drama around that. Everybody was friendly as if life was still normal somehow. It was a really weird, unusual vibe compared to where I am. Where I'm at right now, people are really suspicious of each other and kind of standoffish, and everything was so laid back in that part of North Carolina. The air was even lighter.
It was, and that was a beautiful place. Kalina's sister's intuitive too. She taps into the shaman energy and does a lot of astrology too. So she picked a place that was beautiful for that. And the I noticed something too with our travels. Pockets of places are just really different energetically. We go through Tennessee with no problem. Everyone's wonderful there, laid back, nice and slowed down, just like you expect from Tennessee. Just like my buddy in North Dakota, when I go to his place, it's always the same: chill back, slow, relax. And then through parts of North Carolina, it just depends. If you hit some spots, it's really tense. Other spots, like Burnsville, just beautiful, relaxed. We got to Ohio, and there was a pocket of Ohio in the southern part where everyone wanted to rip your head off. They looked at you and they wanted you dead instantly. Like, I'm driving past a guy with a cart and he shot me and it wasn't just because I don't take looks serious. I don't know, this guy could have just got a phone call. His grandmother died. I have no clue. He might not be looking at me. So I never take it personally. You could feel the anger. So it's really weird to see how the grid of energy connects all these places and what different locations of energy is being worked with. Whatever was going on there, it was intense, and they had to work through that because, man, oh man, it was just like you could see potential fistfights breaking out everywhere there, and the potential hug festivals going on just a few miles south of the border of Ohio and Kentucky. Man,
Yeah.
It's just like night and day.
I was stranded in Ohio a while ago with Carolina, actually. And it was so blasé and bland, and everything was like an uphill battle, and you're just getting stranded. And it feels the same way where I'm at now. It's a very beautiful place where I'm at now. We're in the middle of a valley. We're surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. It's basically like a big bowl, the Roanoke Valleys, and it's surrounded on all sides, which there's an energetic protection. Like, the outside world is basically kept at bay, but there's also a stagnancy here that, when you leave the valley, things feel different. It's a trade-off for living here. Like, we're protected from much of the problems that the outside world has, but we're also kind of trapped here in a way.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Stadia Pro Gaming, hello, brother. And I know who that is.
Yeah, that's a name I haven't seen for a while.
My good friend, Scott. He has been my friend since I was 4 years old. This guy is literally one of the greatest friends I've ever had in my life. I call his mom and dad. He's called mine the same thing. We lived together from the time I was 4 all the way up into our late teenage years. He's the one in North Dakota I was just talking about. When I go up to see North Dakota, that's the place that's just chill and beautiful. Hello, Scott, brother. Please tell Sierra, your family, I said hi. I'm glad to see you here. I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad you're here.
Well, we've got actually quite the show tonight. The analytics I'm seeing now: 26 concurrent viewers, 123 playbacks so far, which I don't know how that's happened already. But there's only 8 likes, guys. Make sure you smash the like button. It really helps out Rob's analytics. Oh, you know why? Because I probably forgot to set this to private again, Rob.
I was thinking that was a possibility.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We're safe and we're home now, brother. I'll give you a call tomorrow too if I get a chance.
Oh my God. I got to go in and monkey around with your settings, actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because when I do it, it automatically, I have predetermined settings, by the way. And I don't know, it's probably a good publicity move. At least you get more people seeing you.
Yeah. Well, I've been telling everybody I'm going to come back. I'm not going to wait for too long to make it, and it's already been a month and a half. So we already set up a plan to do a live stream, but that was the same weekend we had to get going to North Carolina, which was last weekend. So
I'm putting a sticky note on my computer right now. Because this is the second. I'm glad you're a good sport about it, but it's a good one to make a debut in. You probably should be turning out content for these people anyway.
I know.
It's a 2 for
sorry,
1.
Guys.
Okay. I'm just writing.
Well, this is what Patreon feels like, everybody. Come join me if you want.
Yeah, I'm writing this down. Change Rob's YouTube settings. Oh, man.
And Kat said, welcome to Ohio. I take it you are from or still live in Ohio, Kat?
Yeah, Yeah, like I said, I'm glad you're taking this so well, because I don't like screwing things up. Yeah.
Nah.
I'm going to have to self-flagellate myself later.
It was meant to be. If anything was meant to be, it was meant to be. So I don't worry about it too much. It is what it is. I'm just glad enough people are here watching, saying hello, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I was checking I switched back over to the analytics. I'm like, all right, looks like we got 133 playbacks. Like, how? We have trouble getting a dozen people in these chats some night. But here we go. It looks like you're still as popular as ever.
Yeah, no, it never fails. Last live stream I came on to that was public was one where I haven't done a video for 6 months, and before that it was almost 7 months. So it's like 2 videos in a year, and I had tons of people. There was a couple hundred people on who hadn't seen me, hadn't expected to see me, and was right there, Hello, Holly.
Yeah, I can't find the sticky, so I got Scotch tape.
Yeah, that's all good. I'm not worried about it. Like I said, it's meant to be.
Well, now that we know we have a wider audience, maybe we should jump into channeling.
Let's get a channeling, absolutely, guys. So anyway, guys, remember to get your Q&A questions in, 1 question per person. Ask it to Treb or Aridif. All the things are there. Yeah, I think so too, Holly. The link is there, the descriptions of how to do the questions in there, guys. So make sure you get that in before the 30th, because on the 30th we're going to be here doing that, and we're going to be doing the channeling for you guys and draw your names like we do every other month. And at the end of the evening, 1 person who's there at the live stream will get 3 questions, opportunities, stuff like that too. So please remember to do that if you want your questions asked. And I'm going to go ahead and get my neutralizing started.
All right.
Love you guys. Love you, William. Thank you. Love you, Kalina. Thank you, sweetie, for taking care of the baby girl. And yeah, I'm going to be about 10 minutes, guys, so I can get my neutralizing done. And like I said earlier, if you guys are going through the hard things, remember things are starting to clear for a lot of things and a lot of people, a lot of energies, collectively, singularly. Just hang in there, guys, because I love you. And I even got William to say he loves you too. And of course, Kalina loves you, and all the guides that I've brought to you guys, maybe except for that one reptilian. But, who knows? He didn't like humans very well. But besides that one, I'm pretty sure most of them love you guys. Or at least not love the idea of humans, right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to shut my face. I'm going to go grab my water, get neutralized. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And until then, I'm sure William will keep you duly entertained.
Somehow, yes.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay, guys, so now that's my cue to kill 10 minutes or so of dead air until Rob finds out that the baby has a dirty diaper, and then he comes back 25 minutes later, and I've been having to cobble together his show. But once again, it looks like we do have a wider audience than normal. If you've never heard me before, I am William. I guest host the ET Whisperer on the 15th and 30th of every month. If you guys are fiending for some of that ET whispering in your ear, consider joining Patreon. I think the lowest tier is $11 a month, if I'm not mistaken. And you get all this ET Whisperer action. You're getting a peek in what we normally do here on the 15th of every month. And again, tonight is a new moon in Scorpio, I believe. Let me double check on that. And it is quite an auspicious time to start new projects. Yes, a new moon, uh, Scorpio to Sagittarius transiting. So, and things are interesting. There's a lot going on in astrology here. Uh, let's see. So, and it looks like we have, and please smash the like button, guys. It looks like we've got 24 viewers, but only 11 likes. This kind of really helps Rob out. So we did have a really great. It was so interesting meeting Rob and Kalina, and Baby Lilith. But I've only seen Baby Lilith a few times on camera. But I've been dealing with Rob and Kalina for years at this point, seeing them on TV. And I don't know how Rob felt, but you know, you just see somebody on a screen for years and years, and then you meet them in real life. It's a little weird. I mean, not awkward kind of weird, just kind of it has a strangeness to it. Let's see. Look, hello, Heather. Um, and it's a new kind of feeling, actually. I mean, when I was younger, they didn't have technology like we do now, but I had pen pals and stuff like that. Or like when I went on the exchange program to England, there was a girl that I was writing back and forth to, and then we ended up living with each other as part of the exchange program. And that was always kind of a little different, meeting somebody that you've been writing to. But with the internet now and the way the technology is, it's a whole new experience. Rob's one of the few people that I think that's it. I'm not sure I ever had that experience before where you see somebody, basically you're teleconferencing with someone for years and then you finally meet them in real life. It has a different quality to it that I can't quite explain. But Rob and Kalina are just as wonderful as in person. They emanate a fantastic energy. And we got to hang out in a grocery store parking lot drinking Starbucks. Well, baby was drinking milk, but we were drinking Starbucks. The rest of us, the adults in the room, because we all had like super intense drives after us. Um, uh, Casey says, "Well, Rob Tunes, I'm reading from the CIA report on the Gateway program at the Monroe Institute, so forgive me if I'm quiet." You know, Casey, I just mailed that report to Rob a week ago. I don't know that he's read it or not, but I'm going to ask him more about that when he gets back. If I know Rob, he might be listening to me right now. Um, yeah, the CIA when they infiltrated they infiltrated an organization that was free for anyone to walk into. Hello, Adam from Quebec. So there is a lot of turmoil right now, but things do feel a little bit lighter, at least for me. I don't know. I don't know how much of it's astrology because Rob and I and Kalina are both Capricorns, so I don't know if this is something that's unique to our sign. How are you guys feeling out there? Do you guys feel like maybe a weight has lifted a little bit? I know things are still tense in various places around. Let's see. Swasiori? Swasiori. I don't know how to pronounce your screen name, Swasiori. Um, I like Rob. I like Rob doesn't just channel, but has a super caring side of him and a super funny side. Yes, Rob and I are quite similar in many ways. You know, just we've had many parallel experiences, and he's got a very similar sense of humor to me. There's a lot of little hidden corners of Rob that not everybody gets to know. But he is a pretty open. It's not that he's hiding who he is, but um, the more I talk to Rob, the more Rob unfolds like an onion. Adam says first snow here tonight. Let's see. Kat, you're saying no, but I don't know why. Hello, Alchemist Xavier. Um, Things do not feel lighter to you. I feel basically great, in spite of everything happening around me. And I guess that's the point of all of this ET whispering, guys, all of this channeling, um, is that you have to be calm even when things around you are falling apart. You know, if you can maintain your own little personal reality bubble, even while in the midst of buildings collapsing all around you or volcanoes going off, and still have that inner peace, then you will have succeeded at this. Um, let's see. Casey says, not like a weight has lifted, but things are a little different for me now than before. Madness all around, but calm within. Yeah, I think that's it. That's what I'm. You can't let it get to you, as difficult as that may be. Jim says, I felt lighter on November 9th. I usually feel new, and full moons a few days before and after. Nothing unusual right now for me. Let's see. I think all Capricorns are damn serious about work. Anyone agrees? Yes, I'm going to have to be driving across the state tomorrow or the next day to go out and deal with my own businesses. Oh, Kat says things don't feel lighter. Well, in time, you know. It can't rain all the time. 11:44. I'd really like to know how to pronounce your screen name, Swasio. Deborah feels really good. I never felt any weight on my shoulder. I never liked going to work. Find something you like to do. I know it's easier said than done for some people, but really start exploring what your talents and learn a new talent, actually. This has been a theme on my own show right now. Michelle says, I felt great about a month ago, but things are getting weird again. Just call me Swasi. Got it. Can do. Jim says, do you like Charlottesville or Roanoke better? I used to live in Charlottesville. Actually, I spent so much time in Charlottesville around 2013 and 2014, and I loved it then. I really did, and I feel like it's just gotten weird. I just don't go to Charlottesville anymore. If I can avoid it. I think it's gotten really tense over there. None of the restaurants I enjoyed are really any good anymore. It's just, and of course I can't ignore events that have taken place over there. It just has a whole, it's not for me anymore. And Roanoke is becoming really degenerated, I hate to report. Roanoke, I predict, is going to be one of the filthiest, crappiest cities on the East Coast soon. It's starting to get like when I was living in New York back in the 80s. It's getting dangerous and dirty, and it's kind of lost some of its luster, I hate to report. But I don't live in Roanoke. I live in Fincastle. And also, at the risk of self-promotion, I do have a YouTube channel, Fincastle Underground. It's not for everybody. I do a very hardball political show. Some of you guys would definitely be turned off by it. But that's okay. When Rob and I come together, we try and avoid those controversial issues and just talk metaphysics. So hopefully, even if you do not like the other work that I do, we can still be friends on the common issues we have here. I'm totally fascinated in metaphysics. I try and inject that into my channel, too. I'm a really big reader of the Seth material. And I've been trying to repackage some of these metaphysical concepts for a new modern audience. Because I read all the Seth books years ago. I started reading Seth back in 2004, and I've gone through all of them. There's not a Seth book that I have not read. And most people today don't read. They just flat out don't read. They don't have the time to read. So I use my skills in broadcast media to try and package these concepts into short little digestible video chunks or little not ads, but basically make them more digestible and palatable for people that aren't going to pick up a book to get this information. They get all of their information through the internet. Let's see. Swasi wants to know how I know Rob. Years ago, I was listening to when there was still a lot of Bashar material on the web, and back when YouTube was still really great, and it would just, I don't know if you guys remember old school YouTube, like you could just push play and it would just auto find stuff for you, and it was always great stuff. I was listening to Bashar, and then I wasn't even looking at the screen or anything. I was just doing work around the house, listening to whatever came up, and I started hearing channeling from Treb, but I didn't know it was channeling, and I didn't know Treb was a giant lizard man. From what I heard, I thought that Treb was just a really old Asian person based on his voice. He sounded like a Chinese or Korean or something like that. And I'm like, I pictured like a Mr. Miyagi type character. And only when I started like going back, and a couple of these things started playing in a row, I'm like, oh, that's really great. This guy is so insightful. And then when I started actually looking into what I had been listening to, I'm like, well, it's just a giant lizard person. So, but this was that wasn't unusual to me because I had been following the Seth material, like I said, since 2004, and I've always been open to the paranormal. I had some experiences with gray aliens when I was younger, back in 1987, and it's always been a part of who I am. So, anyway, Rob was on another person's show, and he wasn't doing any channeling. It was more of a chat kind of thing. And he said a bunch of stuff, and some of it I agreed with, and some of them I didn't. And I'm like, hey, this is really out of character for you. So I made a response video for Rob, which I thought he would never watch, but he actually did watch it. And we started corresponding and this and that. And then I became a patron, and it just kind of grew organically. And then after they had Lilith and things were starting to become too much to juggle for Rob and Kalina and the baby in the show, he asked me if I would step in and start hosting. And I think I've been doing it over a year. Even Rob and it's definitely been over a year. I can't even pinpoint when I started doing this. And I just met him in real life for the first time on Saturday. Let's see. Tinfoil Hatter is here. Oh, by the way, if there's anybody that normally follows me, YouTube suspended me for a while, so I have a secondary YouTube channel called Fincastle Rising. Should something, quote unquote, something happen to the Fincastle Underground. Adam says, I've been doing massive work in the coherence space, healing and upgrading humanity, shutting down manufacturing of archons from quantum AI machines, linking them to the shared human energetic body. Well, somebody's got to do it, and I don't know how to. But I'm sure that anybody out there that has a meditation type practice or spiritual type practices, we're all sending out positive energy to the collective as best we can. Swasi said, did someone hear anything about 12/21/2020? Yes, I think it is. I can't remember if it's Saturn or Jupiter that goes direct at 0 degrees Aquarius. It's one of the big planets. Again, guys, I'm still learning astrology, so if there's an astrologer in the house. Hello, Massimiliano. Swasi said Brad Johnson, who channels Adronis, and Ivan Teller think this next month something big is changing in terms of our timelines. Yeah, I've been listening to Barbara Marciniak recently. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in her channeling, but she does some wonderful work. It's available on Bandcamp. For $5, you could get her most recent channeling, and she tackles when she channels the Pleiadians, she does more predictive stuff. I noticed that Treb and Aridif are a little hesitant to do predictions or things like that. They're not fortune tellers; they're just really good advisors. But the Pleiadians do a little bit more what'd you call it, predictive channeling, and it's been pretty spot on. Sorry, guys, I just got to get a little swig of water here. Cat likes my show. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Tinfoil Hatter says, I heard the new age is long overdue, but may be delayed indefinitely. Oh, yes, there are very serious things to be talking about. This great reset that is being planned by elite members of world governments. It's easy to write some of these things off as conspiracy theories, but the evidence is there that there is a plan to shape humanity. There is a spiritual war going on right now, dark versus light. However you want to term that, I think we can all feel it, and it means different things for different people. All right, let me get some water, guys. Hang on. Let's see. Swasi says, I read like 11 hours of Seth books on YouTube 3 times over. I think I only got 20%. Yeah, because the YouTube versions are abridged. They've taken out massive sections of the... Like when you listen to the Seth audiobooks, there are notes in there that Jane's husband makes that are essential to understanding the context of the material. Let's see. Who am I seeing here? Sorry, guys. The chat's doing weird things for me. I Mark 1 says, energy heavy for me. Exhausted and don't want to do anything. And also all tech around me is freaking me out. Guys, I would never preach fear, especially on Rob's channel or my own. But I would keep a watchful eye towards artificial intelligence. A very watchful eye towards artificial intelligence. We are being acclimated and groomed and accustomed to living in an artificial reality. Connecting with the earth is more important than ever. I've been trying to be more and more unplugged. I think Treb is more like a sumo wrestler. Deborah says, same with me, Will. I first heard Treb years ago on YouTube, then started listening to Rob's radio show. The Age of Aquarius paradigm shift. Yes, I don't think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows right away, though, guys. This is going to require some elbow grease from the collective consciousness. As long as we're tearing ourselves apart, we're not going. It's not just going to magically happen. I don't think. Casey was hooked on Rob from the very first video I found when he first began building the YouTube. Let's see. Let's see, get some... Son of Superman says, I remember those YouTube days and I used to do all the same thing. When I first heard Treb, I couldn't stop smiling and laughing. Then I saw Rob channel him, and I smiled ear to ear for the whole thing. Kat saw Rob on Gaia TV and felt instantly connective. Adam, what is Adam saying? Adam says a ninth new type of energy appeared, existing only between the 20 universes and the 14 now's proto-universe or glue universe. The shared human energetic body has dominion there. Some of this is a little over my head, but it sounds like you are doing the good work. Tinfoil, yes, Barbara is still around. Barbara's still around and kicking ass, actually, on Bandcamp. Okay, Barbara Marcinia. Yes, I will paste it in the chat room for you. All right, that is Barbara Marciniak. Barbara, of course, Marciniak. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and I can give you guys a link to her Bandcamp. I think Rob will be joining us again soon. Somewhere. All right, I'm going to post this in the live chat for you guys so you can find it on Bandcamp. Rob is putting baby to bed, so it'll be just another few minutes. And I'm really excited we got so many views tonight, guys. It looks like we've got 30 likes. If anybody in here has not hit the like button, please hit the like button. Holly discovered Rob on the Moore Show. Tinfoil Hatter says, Bashar was always awesome, too. And the Seth material I was reading when I was 16 in 1981, yo. Yo. 1981. Do a shout out to my 1980s friends here. Only 80s kids will understand. Oh no. He got me. Sadly, there's a short delay. I'm running my Nintendo through the computer, so the controller doesn't feel quite right as if it was hooked up to my TV. I promise I'm much better at Super Mario than this. Anyway, so you mentioned 1981. You got me all distracted. I've been playing this since 1984. Anyway.
Super Mario Kart with Kalina's nephew, her sister's son. And that had been the first time I played for, oh my god, for a long time. Speaking of video games, my friend who is just here, guys, Stadia Pro Gaming, he has his own gaming channel. So if you guys want to check that out, he does YouTube. He just started it for fun a few weeks ago, about a month or so ago. Actually, he's had it on for quite a few months, but he started live streaming. And he is pretty amazing too. He, even though I always call him Scott, his real name's William, like yours too. So he is over there all the time, and he does live stream every day, Monday through Friday. I think either 1 or 2 p.m. Mountain Time where he lives. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2, but he's there every day, guys, too. So if you enjoy video games, Stadia is actually a new system that doesn't require you to own your own box, like a PlayStation or Xbox, and it's not like a computer game. It doesn't eat away at your RAM and your processor. It's actually all online through Microsoft, and it's actually, as soon as they drop the new Xbox level games and Sony level games, the new generation, Gen 5, the systems that they use will be able to play those games instantly. It's really good stuff, and he does a good job at it too. So if you ever like gaming and you like to check that out, go check out his channel, Stadia Pro Gaming. It's back up in the chat. I'm pretty sure you can click on his name and then get his profile. But anyway.
All right. Well, if you'll take the mic for a second, I'm going to go powder my nose,
Yeah, guys. So just remember, I know tonight's not the night I usually tell everyone this. It's usually on the 30th. Well, I tell everybody on both nights, but it's usually most useful for the 30th. When you're listening to the channeling, just remember that the answers that come back are reflections of the energy. Now, normally when you ask your own question, it's a reflection of your energy. This is a collective question, so it's going to be a reflection of the collective. Treb and Aridif look at that information. They see it as a big picture, as a snapshot for the question at the moment. Then they reflect back from their own perspective, and then at that time they give that energy back to you. And the reason I always explain that to people is so that when you're receiving the energy, you can also be excited. When you're excited, you have more likelihood of getting that excitement back to you, or the answer back to you in a way that's also exciting. So I forgot 2 things: to grab my water, and I should probably use the restroom too. I hate to do this right when I got back, but I'm going to do it, guys. So 2 more minutes. Oh, see, perfect timing, guys. So William will entertain you guys for about 2 more minutes, and then I promise I'll be back, and we'll just jump right into channeling, because I don't have nothing left to tell you guys besides the fact that I love you guys, and thank you for being here. Those of you who aren't from Patreon, but you're still here, I love you guys. Also, and I will be putting out a free video in the next few weeks. It depends on how long it'll take Lily to go through the healing process with her surgery, but from what I understand, within the first few days, 2 weeks, she should be bouncing around. So hopefully on one of these weekends coming where Jeremy's at his mom's, I'll be able to dedicate a whole day to it, which would be nice. So anyway, love you guys. 2-3 more minutes, I'll be right back.
What Rob doesn't realize is that he's accidentally putting out a free video now, thanks to my ineptitude setting up his YouTube channel. He gave me access to his channel, which is an enormous... You guys were asking me about Rob. Rob just gave me access to his YouTube channel, which is an enormous show of trust, I might add. It's like I was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Not that I would ever screw Rob over, but so let's see. What was I going to say? I was off my. He broke my stride now. I don't even remember what we were talking about, guys, before he came back. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time, I think, ultimately. We're in for quite the growth experience. But don't ever forget, guys, if you buy into all of this, you decided to be here. No matter whenever your life is getting bad, first of all, you can control aspects of your life if they're getting bad. You can control everything about your life. But if you're having a bad day, you just got to remember, we signed up for this. We all did. We decided to come here in this point in space-time, and hopefully what Aridif has to share about tonight's topic, which we say Aridif, but it might be Treb, again, whatever the alien guys have to say about this topic tonight should prove quite illuminating on how the future changes the past or affects the past. Let's see. Yeah, Casey said we have 40 people here live. Smash the like button, guys. I see 46 concurrent viewers and only 39 likes. So there's like 70 out there that have not hit the like button. Please do. It really helps Rob's algorithm. And again, if you're catching this and you're not on Patreon, sign up for Patreon and you can get us on the 15th and 30th of every month. Plenty of Rob, Treb, and Aridif to go around. Plus, occasionally he'll channel other entities, from wherever. Hello, Savita. How are you? Swasi says, our bad day is nothing in comparison to what humanity has been through. Yes, and human beings have been through much worse than this and have survived. All right. And again, if you're just joining us, what you're seeing on the screen is a recent picture painting done of Rob, Treb, and Aridif by Carolina, who may still be in the chat room. We will have prints of these available for anyone, and potentially hoodies at some point. Let me mute this. So, anything else from you guys out there about tonight's topic? Timelines are going to be... Actually, timelines are a topic that have come up in my own life lately. Again, thanks to Barbara Marciniak, talking about... the timelines that are streaming through from 9/11, basically, and how 9/11 affected the different timelines. That was an interesting time. I'm sure many of you were there for that one. Swasi says, oh man, it's 12:15 here. Have work tomorrow, and I'm so anxious to hear his channeling. I hope I can keep awake through it. I believe in you. I hope I can keep awake through it, too, because I'm out of coffee myself. I do not know if the Orion Wars are still going on. I guess I would have to say yes and no, based on what we all know about time already. There comes to a certain point, guys, with this material where even questions themselves become meaningless. Once you start dealing with possible realities, probable systems, probable gods... everything is on the table. A true infinity. You can't take enough acid to even grasp that.
All right, Sabita. Hello, sweet sister. I love you, I love you. Thank you for coming tonight. All right, guys, it's time. And for those of you guys who might have been popped in here who aren't from Patreon, I got a text on my phone from my buddy William, Stadia Pro Gaming. He said, oh my God, I didn't realize it was a members only. If you're here for a reason. Stick around. Please don't worry about that. Stick around, hang out. You're not going to get anyone's private information anyway. That doesn't happen till the 30th, and even then it's not real noticeable to what, is the question usually, unless someone puts their whole name on it. But anyway. All right, guys, we're going to channel, and tonight's topic, for those of you guys who might have just tuned in the last few minutes, tonight is going to be how the future timelines change the now. And what was the specific on that one, William? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's cool. That's what I mean. That's exactly what I'm here for. How the future affects the past, going into specific examples of how future timelines are interacting with us now, and for what purposes would be great.
Casey herself, our wonderful Galactic travel channel, who's been not just a Patreon person for a long time, but a friend for a long time, and a person who also does amazing work. You guys should really check out her channel. Click on her channel, check it out. She does amazing energetic channeling through crystals. She does regular channeling like I do. She does all sorts of great stuff. And if you haven't checked out her channel, I would say that it would be worthwhile 100%. So, all right, guys, love you. I'm going to take one more drink of water, and then we're going to rock and roll. Bring Diffie Doozy. Oh, let me shut this door. I forgot to do that in case baby does wake up. We don't want to wake her up even more during this.
Yeah, Aridif wanted me to tell you that if you don't stay hydrated, he's going to beam you up and beat you down with a baseball bat or something.
Yeah. No, he knows what I fear, and those little stupid ugly feet. That's an inside joke, guys. He has weird feet, and I always kind of cringed at him a little bit at first, and Kalina makes fun of me. Like, they're so adorable. I'm like, no, they're weird. But anyway, sorry about that.
No,
all right, Eric.
Just imagine he has feet like Howard the Duck or something.
Yeah, no, it's like these little grippy toe feet with seven toes, one on the side, like little hand feet. But
that might not even be normal for his race. He might have grown up under the power lines or something.
Galactic Power Lines. That's a good YouTube channel name, Galactic Power Lines. Galactic. Trademark, register mark. All right, guys, I'm gonna quit the shtick and get with the channel.
Yeah.
One more breath and we're in, guys. All right, guys, love you guys. I will see you on the other side. Enjoy. Here we go. Greetings to all, Aridif. They are I-D-I-F, and this is its phone. We understand that many of you have many queries for this evening, but before diving into those queries, of course, the two things in which we always express. Yes, of course, all of you know that to feel, perceive, and to understand that you are loved, in our perspective, is of course the utmost importance. Secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and also within that same great excitement in which we co-create, all of you, singularly and collectively, to co-create a collective consciousness. And thirdly, we wish to express greetings to William as well.
Greetings, Aridif.
Yes, of course, greetings, and we will dive into your query as we understand your query after hydrating Rob's throat yet again. We understand the subject at hand is how your future timelines, in your experience with Earth, co-create a collective consciousness and, personally, individually, in your own expressed consciousness, manifestation, incarnation, or incarnation cycles do appear. So, we will first express the construct of the future affecting your now moment as an individual consciousness, as we believe it is important first to see the smallest fraction of consciousness at play, and then of course move linearly upwards per consciousness. Now, in the singular construct, as all things are perceived, future and your past, present, in this moment, are exactly this, in this moment. There are no true projections of future or past. They are at one moment. Of course, it is not the moment that you yourself are focused, outside of what you are focused at this specific now moment, but in your own expression, the linear time that all third density entities experience as a part of their own incarnation is experienced in this way and for very specific and important reasons. First of all, as the first density entity consciousness expresses itself, time is not a construct. It is not a dimensional part of the experience. Of course, it is a part of that same energy that creates the entire blanket and the entire threading of that blanket of time within all physical reality, but the feeling, experience, and expression of time per consciousness is not required, especially that is the linear perspective. Second density entities are always in your now moment. They are practiced simply at second density, much as those that are at fifth and sixth, and often those in fourth. They experience the now moment at all times. The perceived past of an entity in second density is not one of great recall of only memory and emotions. It is mostly reactional energy, trauma, or reward that is held physically inside of the DNA and captured as an epigenetic. This construct allows the experience of past dangers or rewards to be stored in their body and felt at the moment in which they are required. Some humans perceive, of course, a dog may have linear past memory. Each time I raise my hand and I raise my voice, it may cower, remembering the time that I lost my temper and smacked it on its bottom. Yes, of course, this entity remembers, but not in a visceral memory as a human would, remembering the emotion that they went through, remembering the specific argument that led to the assault upon them. No, it is a stored memory, a memory of pain and trauma stored in the DNA and then replicated from a short burst of memory, and they do not take that memory linearly backwards in time and project. Yes, of course, this occurred last week, so it is fresh in my memory. No, it is stored in the body more closely to the surface of energy of that now moment. Now, energetically, of course, you understand that in this construct it cannot be perceived or measured by instruments of a scientific nature to this moment, but you will realize that a trick that you teach your cat to do will be easier for them to recall, as it is a triggering of reward. Once you have taught them 1 day previous or 1 week previous, but if you teach your cat and train them and go through all the time that it requires to spark reward and memory in this entity, and do not focus your energy upon this for 1 year and retry, it will be much more difficult for the entity to bring forward. It is further from its now moment. Now, of course, this is similar to the construct memory forms in humans, but it is experienced in that way. Third density entities, humans as yourself, albeit that fourth density still experience third density majority, are much different in the way that time becomes processed. One moment we'll hydrate yet again. We're also grateful for your willing to express that reminder to Rob himself, as he frequently does not remember the moments of that pre-channeled state where it is important. Now, in that memory construct of humans, linear time is experience. We do not need to tell you how you remember or tell you how you experience linear time. You are more familiar with it even than ourselves, who understand and can experience that linear time, but do not live through linear time. So you understand the constructs and the experience behind, but the mechanical nature of this construct and why it is important is part of the referendum that we are sharing in this moment. Now, you go backwards into your construct of linear time energetically, and it shows a previous version of yourself, a version of you that is less knowledgeable, a version of you that is less connected to that vibrational moment of who you are. So you process this as a more distant memory, and ones that are closer, a version of you that is more like the version that you are in this moment. So there's a bridge and understanding to relay amounts of times. And of course, humans have lived with such great energetic co-creation with time itself in linear form that you have even created your own systems of maintaining and keeping in unnatural forms, but forms nonetheless. Your ancestors experienced the practice of natural time, and this is why they were in more tune with the earth. And of course, Treb Bor Yit NE and ourselves have shared many times that a return to the form of natural time would be beneficial to your society. Now, stepping back into the subject at hand, the energy of that expression of your linear past is an important energy for you to experience, because it gives you reference of what you have done, how you have grown, and what level you have maintained in your linear path of journey. It is important as a human to understand not for the fundamental growth of human only, but also as a part of your spiritual evolution. What would I have done 1 year previous if this experience were handed to myself in this moment? And you perceive that change that you were. Yet some of you change overnight. We understand great rarity, but some of you are able to change one habit of your expression overnight. You are bending the form of the natural progression, what most humans perceive as a linear time. So you have become accustomed to perceiving and bending and experiencing both the natural form of linear time and the bent version of linear time. But the future remains the same as your past. Because of your belief system, because of your expressed experience of linear time, you believe that what comes next is only what is created and built in this moment in order to grow to that moment, in order to expand and to step forward into that moment. I cannot experience an enlightenment unless I have laid the foundation But of course, all of you who truly understand, whether it be through experience or through the mental progress of gymnastics that is applied in the human mind, that you can in fact experience something instantly through manifestation, or create an experience that is not normal to linear experience. Say, yes, of course, I understand this energy. Yet most of you who know and who experience small versions cannot make the greater jump. Part of this is the individual limitation that occurs within that human experience, with the belief systems that were set upon you and that you yourself set upon yourself. And other components of this energy is a part of the Earth collective consciousness in its agreement to be a part of the solar system collective, which holds third density entities to linear time perspective, as well as the universal collective consciousness, which is the dictator of all rules that are expressed through physicality. In this universe, your scientists understand weak and strong nuclear force as a law. We understand, although the understanding of these laws are limited, this applies. It is one law, the entirety of the universe, physically. And of course, gravity, etc., all of these expressions, that same law that exists with third density entities experience linear time, is of course the law in which consciousness and physicality co-create. Now, you understand the mechanics, the basic, the nature of the construct, and going into the future seems to be harder than going into the past. You perceive that going back to yourself and speaking to yourself as a child, in order to change your now moment, can be much more easy than it would be to project yourself into that past as the entity that you were and create from that part, and either live from that part to change your entirety of the experience, or come back to your now and see the ripples of your change. Some of you understand that this is a possibility, although be it in small percentages from those that you're part of the evolutionary construct. It can be applied in the same factor in your future construct. Perceiving the future, understanding and knowing experiences from the future is done all of the time in your human expression. There are those who do not know that they are doing when they are creating artwork, when they are creating movies and musics, and mentioning certain topics, and playing out scenes that have never occurred and yet they occur. This is part of you tapping in to your future energy. This creates what is understood and known as a timeline. And the definition of a timeline simply is the application of your consciousness in the multitudes of your now moments in the direction of connection directly to all of the points that you can perceive and that are not changeable from your belief. This is the timeline. This goes to show that timelines can change with fundamental understandings of the moment. Most humans perceive timelines starting in the past, going to your now, and ending up in the future that you desire or that you create. This, of course, also has truth that is embedded within this construct. Yes, of course, what you do in your now moment does affect your future version, the now version of future that you yourself will choose. But the energy of your moment projecting into the future is held also with a timeline that stretches in variance. Your timeline in the future already holds the highest levels of probability if it maintains your proper course of this now moment, of the now moment that you have chosen to project your consciousness in. And this future predicated timeline is pendant upon your action of your now. And so too is your past, although most humans perceive it in the opposite way only. Both of these apply, as all of them are simply the now moments, of your choosing, of your belief, of your projection, that you've created for all of your life experience. Now, understanding that your future is already played out within all of the probabilities through the twin soul mechanism, which is the simple and unique cycle that it exists in your expression of consciousness, allows you to understand the greater essence of connecting your now to your future and your future to your now. We hydrate yet again. Now that you perceive a timeline and perceive the understanding of the mechanics and the nature of your own experience in entangling and co-creating with a timeline itself, we must be able to perceive that the timeline in your higher fractal consciousness is not one that is linear, nor is the experience of all of those energies in reality version the only reality in which it occurs actually in your past, your present, and build your future from your present is the one of your personal perspective and, of course, the shared collective rule that this must exist in order to have third density and experience it as such. So, looking at your timelines, looking at all of those moments that you call now, it will always shift your past, present, and future when your specific now moment of entertainment becomes a changed vibration. Most of you are not aware that if you look to your most fond memory of childhood, that this expression was not available to you. One day previous, perhaps, if you have done a great deal of change, it is even less likely to have had an expression of that experience. Your memories of the past are dictated by your now vibrational moment choosing and that timeline. And the timeline is that same formed energy of all of the now moments placed together, but all of it can change in each moment as you shift into your focused version of reality. The future occurs, and the past also occurs at your now moment. So, shifting your focus towards the future energy, choose a moment of your desire. Choose the moment of when I reach my 75th birthday. I wish for this to occur. This is a thought that many humans have. Some humans work with their now moment to build towards that energy. But if you were assured that upon your 75th birthday it already occurred, you would not have to build your now moments, and you would not have to spend the entirety of your life planning for all of those things to occur, as it would be part of the manifest timeline of your now moment. The energy of building is only the perspective of the entity that desires to have an experience built, one predication upon another, one version of reality upon another, and to continue the essence of that energy. Go forward into the future, play with it, all that you desire, and you will find that in doing this, you are shifting all of your now moments through the entire experience. This allows you to say that when you are 5 years older, you will be a millionaire entity with all of the money in the world. And if you know it already has occurred, if your beliefs allow that energy to be in that now moment, to already have perceived that version of experience happen in your now moment, then your now moment can also shift the next morning that you wake up. You desire to go to your job that you have had a familiar experience and co-creation with others. It brings you the benefit of finances that allows you to pay through your monthly engagements. Yet the next day you do not feel as going there as appropriate. You do not feel that it is part of your experience, and so you quit. And of course, through synchronicity and following your own excitements, it would lead you to that road of energy that would open that expression as only a perceived part of your future experience, but experience in that previous now moment. Now we understand the construct of playing with linear time is difficult, so let us go more so into the collective consciousness. There are many entities that are in co-creation with Earth at this moment that are doing so as future versions of humans. Many of the races that you are aware that co-create with you in this moment are also versions of humans that have left the Earth and that have co-created in their own experiences outside of the Earth collective consciousness. Humanoid Syrian beings are humans that are in your linear future. Entities that are Pleaidian, humanoid, in multiple fractions of that consciousness are also human beings who evolved into their own future timeline and come back to co-create. These entities are co-creating with the past versions of themselves, the past iterations of what their race once was, and do so to create a new expression of what they are. Now, those of you who understand that those that are type 2 entities in the semi-benevolent to highly malevolent vibration can utilize that for their benefit. Yes, of course, they are able to go into their past versions and experience and co-create with those entities that were further in their incarnation cycle and create havoc or fear, which brings them further out in their own incarnation cycle. We use the example of those that are alpha draconian in nature. They have an expressed experience of working in multiple energies of their own timeline at once. They worked with entities that were what humans perceive as grey entities, set reticuli beings that were in fact higher matrixy versions of humans that are upon Earth, and brought them back into the matrixy in order to realign their own DNA. And what did this give? Both those that were Zeta Reticuli and those that were Alpha Draconian. It gave both of them the experience to go back in to their own perceived past and manipulate situations that were ongoing that could create a higher, more beneficial experience for themselves. And by doing so, it allowed them to work with humans as grey entities and connect to their own version of DNA, say that their own race would not come to a demise with lack of ability to co-create through their own sexuality. It also gave Alpha Draconians their own co-creators with humans upon genetic levels and interactive levels to cause their timeline to be the one in which the end of their entire incarnation cycle was ended early. They are co-creating with humans at this moment in creating chaos in astral projected fields with multiple thousands of humans in order to create a version of their own reality, that timeline of the end of their own incarnation cycle comes at a later time. Of course, we will hydrate one moment. So their experience in co-creation with humans are ones for their own needs, but this construct is a part of the larger co-creator collective conscious of humans upon Earth as well. It was important for Earth to understand and to experience this in its own co-creational validity. That is why it occurred. That is why humans in their own timeline in desired co-creation allowed the co-creation of the other entities that were away from their own incarnation cycle. This plays not only with one lifetime but an entire cycle of incarnating. The ability to incarnate and to hold that cycle longer is the greatest desire of those that are outward in nature, is what their greatest desire, to maintain the furthest possibility in expansion of their own incarnation cycle, that they are not forced in the way that they perceive to go back into the oneness, existence, density, and terror consciousness. As you understand, the energy in order to create the experience they desire, as an entity who lives and experiences linear time in that way, your own choices to work with your future timelines is not as easy. It does not mean it is not possible. It means it is not as easy. Mental belief system and Earth collective consciousness being that of a third to fourth density exchange experiencing mostly third density also makes this a bit more difficult in expressing and manifesting that energy. So, in the co-creation going forward, there are multiple remedies to this construct. First, belief systems must be looked upon at the deepest levels of energy of creation and co-creation. You must perceive the energies of thought, belief, and know that the experience itself is not proof of linear time dictating your experience. Work upon those beliefs. Understand that your now moment, although it feels infinite in your experience from birth to the time of death, is in fact a finite version of possibilities and probabilities. The changing of your vibration is what is infinite. So perceive the timelines as they are, as malleable constructs of your own consciousness that only require a shifting of your now moment, and knowing that the same shift in your past and future are akin to this construct. When you go into the future version of yourself and you desire that outcome, be prepared to experience that experience and whatever it comes. We often express to humans that being in your now moment is most important. We will reiterate that at this moment, humans in the way that they are co-creating with desires to go back or forward in linear time does not help progress the soul in large quantities. Experiences and co-creations of your now and also linearly speaking now moment dictates that your presence be in that moment and that you co-create from excitement. This is what will always give you the highest levels of growth and also desired experiences. We're going through all time to play with the past version of yourself, not through a therapeutic sense, but simply directing memory and know that memory existed, changing that outcome of your now moment and changing the outcome of your future moment as it bends backwards. Remind yourself that all of the time between will be given to that expression, whereas when you co-create only from your perceived now moment, but also your truly now moment, you will be able to flow freely and not dictate the going-ons of what was and what could be, and bypass those energies with a simple co-creation of thought. However, as you go through your experience, circumventing this if you desire, that base form of system of beliefs, both the lowest but most important thing that can be done for that experience to manifest more easily. The others are teaching yourself projection through time as you would in astral projected state. Choose the state of your being. Choose the state of your consciousness, the age of your physical body, the time in your Earth Collective's calendar of man time, and then project the consciousness of your own self in that now, and then If your belief systems are clear and your energy is focused, you can experience that version of the moment that once was believed to be your future self. The belief itself about linear time being broken is what is required to break the system. We often see humans that have taught themselves to break the system of reality in a way that most humans are not capable. And once this occurs, one of two results also occur. The first is that they integrate instantly into their fourth density experience and begin starting their fourth density expression from that moment. The second and higher probability and higher percentage in this construct is that they are either mentally disconnected from their body or they are physically disconnected from the entirety of the body, meaning, in your terms, they will go crazy or die. And we do not mean this as a construct of fear, but it is simply a construct of not aligning with the energy of yourself projected into the different parts of time when your body is trained to be in linear time, and so too is your mind and heart. It is fundamentally belief system itself that must be eradicated in order to bend through time, but you also must train yourself to be willing to perceive yourself as a small baby and then to perceive yourself upon your deathbed in the same breath. Then, and only then, would you be mentally, emotionally, and energetically prepared for such a creation as well. We will take your queries.
Okay, that was certainly a lot to take in. All right. So you've answered one of the questions that I came up with about the present being the point of power, which is pretty interesting. Here's something, though, that came up to me, and this might be a simplistic kind of question. But suppose I wanted to change my past, or any of us wanted to change our past, but there are physical artifacts left over from that past, like photographs and things like that. What happens to physical evidence of a timeline that no longer is?
This is greatly dependent upon what you are changing, how you are changing it, and how deeply you change it. If you are changing simply the memory of the construct, then of course artifacts remain. Therefore it would be negative co-creation with that construct. Because you will say to yourself, I have an artifact, I have a picture here, it must be something within the mental energy that I had forgotten or remembered incorrectly. If it is a construct that is a bit larger, one that you have more invested belief, one in which you have worked with yourself about your beliefs in linear time and changed this, then of course you can perceive the version of reality without artifacts and without pictures, and it would never have occurred in that way, both physically and energetically. You are in a new timeline, and this timeline does not hold artifacts of what did not happen or exist. The third scenario in which this can occur is one in where you have a mixture of both, where you lose certain artifacts, but yet certain ones remain, or your memory is strong, but your ability to prove that that memory is real becomes more difficult, the nature of these artifacts becoming more ambiguous by each moment. This construct is a blending of the two, and one that would create disharmony unless you understood and knew in that moment that you were desiring this change, but also the change of your memory to know that it was possible, and that knowing the possibility is also an important and specific part of that memory. If you allow yourself that co-creation and full depth immersion of that experience, then you could very easily have left to a desert on your 25th birthday and on your 26th see yourself in a place of snow in your picture, or have the artifact in front of you with no memory of it whatsoever, but also knowing that you created it that way for a reason as well.
Okay. I just had a. All right, here's something I don't know that you've ever weighed in on. It's kind of in pop culture now, but people are talking about this thing called the Mandela effect, which I'm sure Rob is familiar with. There was this book series from our childhood, The Bernstein Bears, and I and many people vividly remember it being Bernstein, but apparently now we're in a reality where it's Berenstain with an A rather than an E. And this is something that's caused a lot of contention among people, believe it or not. Could you say anything about what's happening here?
Yes, of course, this is a mixture co-created with collective consciousness. What better way to show the effects of consciousness than to create a splitting down the middle of memories of an entire race that shared the moment and culture at that expression. Part of these, and we will express over 35% of most effects that are known to most human beings, are those that are faulty memory only, where it was something, but it was called something else. And of course, what it was called is what your memory attaches to, what is called by your friends and family when you are 5 years old, reading a book that you don't care what the title is. Then of course, it may simply be that you misremembered and that all the entities around you created misremembering by a faulty remembering through their own expression. But the phenomenon that does exist and is physically tangible to your expression are those experiences of shifting and splitting timelines. Splitting timelines are going for those who desire to have an experience more fourth density oriented, and those that desire to continue an experience of third density as well, knowing that both experiences are greatly similar. You must live as a fourth density entity to be in fourth density with that version of the Earth. Yet, in the third density Earth, they can also experience that same fourth density by shifting their own vibration. So yet again, it is a cutting and remembrance of the cutting of these energies. There are also more consciousnesses projected into your past in this moment, and in the moment recognizing the dead effect construct simply due to nostalgia. Humans at certain ages become nostalgic with their own constructs. They desire to look back at what they once understood and knew, and perceive it from fresh eyes, with your internet collective consciousness shifting the consciousness of the entirety of the Earth collective. Of course, this will be a part of that greater co-creation.
Okay. Yeah, I certainly can relate to the nostalgia. I know the world's always changing, but it seems like things are becoming drastically different than what most people my age grew up with. We're definitely not going back to the way things were.
Yes, of course. Now we understand this common saying occurs with humans. This is different generation. In such short time, so much has changed. Due to your technology, it is much more tangible and perceivable, but to those who experience going through the mid-1800s into the early and mid-1900s, will perceive their own changes as greatly as yours, from your moment of birth to your now moment, and it is not because one had changed quicker or more devastatingly or more happily, depending upon your perspective, but the fact that the experience of humanness altogether is one that requires shift and change and a flow of that energy in your linear time perspective. And it does this to help motivate that growth, not only from human to human in one lifetime, but from generation to generation. Who of those who fought in battles spreading across the eastern portion of your globe did not grow hearing tales of that entity that fought in Trojan War, who did not hear of Alexander fighting his own wars and then take up arms and become the next general with a greater conquer and with greater weaponry and greater military might. It is the past in recent past and the remembering of the stories that are handed down also that motivate physically the construct of evolution, but the energy behind that memory holds a greater deal of the experience of linear time from that growth and shift of change.
You had mentioned that things might be more beneficial for us collectively if we operated from natural time. I've always understood this to mean, like being more in touch with the natural cycles, like the lunar cycles, and kind of discarding the man-made calendar. And maybe if people could be so lucky to structure their lives this way, going to sleep when your body wants to sleep rather than forcing yourself to stay awake, or waking up naturally without an alarm. Is this how you define natural time, or could you speak more on that?
Yes, of course. It is highly similar to your own expression and definition, yet the slight differential lies in the fact that there are no wrong or incorrect constructs of a calendar if you desire to place numbers or names upon each month. The bastardization of a calendar occurred when it veered from the natural cycle that dictated the construct itself, being that of your lunar cycles and monthly cycles, working with what most humans would perceive as the construct of a calendar in which 28 days of a lunar cycle was represented through 13 months. It could be much more appropriate for that energy, but even then, the 24-hour period that your clocks are set to are also not accurate, as you are having to jam one full day into your calendars every 4 years upon your leaping year. Yet the construct of simply knowing it is morning time and it is the 4th month, meaning that it is at its end of spring, and knowing that the entirety of the evening cycle and the lunar cycle brings apart your own understanding of what time it is of year, what time it is of day. These are all appropriate, but they must be experienced in more natural ways. Most humans experience the looking at a calendar and projecting their own consciousness into the future by simply marking on the calendar you have placed possibility in your timeline to shift. Knowing that you desire something is acceptable and does not create resistance, but planning to do that can, because there are much more than thoughts involved. There are emotions and thoughts and resistant thoughts and negative thoughts and experiences of the emotional turmoil to build that expression. So of course, to know that in 4 months your crops must be lifted from the fields, and also you must go visit your family member out of your local region, then of course it can become much less insidious to the growth, expression from the human perspective.
So you're saying that a calendar then could be used as a tool to create reality, sort of by scheduling in what you want.
What we mean is by setting an appropriate calendar instead of one that is not synced with time that is in natural cycles can be appropriate for that experience. And by doing so, it allows you all of those human things revolved around planning and revolved around the construct. But yet again, the planning construct and the projection into days in the environment of psychological and mental energies in this moment is not helpful. It does not create peace or serenity knowing that you have a certain time of the year to experience. What we are saying is that if humans must use calendars in their own experience to utilize those that are based in a natural cycle, instead of one that is created from hours and seconds and fourth year additions, months, then this construct would be much more resistantlessness for human expression.
All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up.
Yes, of course.
And this may come about. Not everybody on the planet is using the same calendar. The Hebrew year currently is 5,781. The Chinese have their own calendar system. Can you maybe touch briefly on what using those different calendar systems means for them, and if we here in this country or whoever's listening right now, is humanity ever going to change their timekeeping system as far as you can see?
Yes, of course. It is important for it to be done in your linear future for the growth and expansion of humans as you understand them. There are one of two ways in which this occurs. One that becomes more accurately spent around the natural cycles, such as your lunar constructs or even your solar constructs, but the other proportion can be to work a perfectly syncable balance of time and energy through mathematics and science and understanding the nature of the Earth's rotation, etc., and still conflate the energy with being better at time, where the natural time is an experience without a tie to that energy or time, just a simple understanding of it, whereas the complex, more mathematical and scientific version leads you to creating a more accurate version of what will happen in this moment, not one that shows the same problems with a lack of syncing to the Earth expression.
Okay. What is, some people? Let's talk about if what happens if an individual finds themselves out of time, either an out of body state, or sometimes I've heard people finding themselves physically out of time in another time period. Like I've had some experiences where I've been in the Revolutionary War period, and it seemed more than just a dream. I know Casey was mentioning that she travels time regularly. What's going on there?
Yes, of course. There are multiple energies that are involved with travelling of time. There are those of you who experience in your awakened state, such as Rob, as he experienced one of his own experiences of time. This is a greater version of what we have said all humans are capable of, if they are willing to bend through that experience and breaking down belief expressions, etc., and working with the construct, but doing so with their own volition and upon their own command. Yet, those such as Rob, who experienced his own version, were simply falling into a vibration of desire to know that there were more and greater things in his own universe, and not finding a way to do it. So the psychic networking opened what was available in that moment in order for him to maintain certain parts of his path and shift other parts of his own path. This expression is a construct that occurs as humans are awake, as simply a reminder to start looking at your beliefs around certain past lives, or to heal trauma from that past life expression. Yet those of you who are in dream state, where this is most common, of course, with over 98% of all experiences in this nature being in one, that is, of course, a dream state creation. This energy is one that is done for multitudes of reasons. There are those of you who simply desire to step into one of your previous incarnations and to perceive it with your own two proverbial eyes in that way, and perceiving the construct as an edge of your consciousness, letting yourself play with the other parts. And it can also be for healing parts of trauma that relate to previous engagements and incarnations, but knowing that as a higher soul level understands, changing something in your past life only has the effect of your now moment in this life. Once you are truly connected to your own self and know why it is occurring with your recall of that specific trauma. All of the time, we have never seen an exception outside of this in our own experience. Never has a human experience recognized and understood that time was relevant in their past incarnation and not have something that is themed similarly, or an energetic release that is similar to that lifetime that occurs. Also in subconscious, unconscious levels, this is also a part of the reason why this occurred with Rob himself, in order to assess his own mental and emotional components as it pertained to his family, as it pertained to loss, as it pertained to all the negative experiences that went around his seeing and perceiving that past incarnation.
All right, I have. I see two. I try and pull some questions out of the audience, and Swasi wants to know how sleeping affects time. If it decreases the time spent on Earth and keeps us younger, or slow down time in any way.
Yes, of course, if you are speaking to the physical vessel that is your body, it is a recharging of the physical body. Therefore, if it is left overcharged or undercharged, it will simply do as all cellular telephones do. It will run out of juice in a quicker fashion. It will not fully charge itself, or it will be so overcharged that it leaks out the top layers of that as well. So, the energies for the sleep state consciousness itself and the co-creation of the level of understanding is an important one as pertaining to sleep. When you are connecting to your physical body, it can enhance, if you are charged and charged correctly in each day, your experience. But in the sleep state, time takes on an entirely new essence, an entirely new expression, experience. In that experience, whether it be in low astral projected state, high astral projected state, or the template layer of creation, your third layer of the dream state consciousness, time does what it does all the time. Will either expand or shrink in your linear perspective, pending upon the experience needed, pending upon the person's emotion or reaction to its environment in that experience as well.
All right, and another good question here from Alchemist Xavier wants to know how deja vu enters into all of this.
Yes, of course. If you perceive deja vu, you can perceive it in many ways. In our own perspective, deja vu is a construct of a memory of your future that you have already had. It is the shortest and most simple and most experienced version of the future affecting your now moment that you are able to perceive. It is truly the construct of your own memory shooting into the future projected consciousness and then back into your body quickly enough to perceive what you had just projected from your reality. It is your soul's eyes being pointed down to your next now moment in your timeline energy, but one that is so close to the original moment you will perceive it play out in front of your eyes for the second time, fairly quickly as well.
Okay, I don't know if I'm speaking for everyone on this, but usually when I have deja vu, it's really unsettling and creepy, and I feel like something bad's about to happen. I don't know if that's a common experience, but why would that be?
Yes, of course, and it is common for many humans to experience this, and it is for the reason that we have shared that in our own perspective, humans working to step out of their linear time energy in more permanent ways can be harmful. The physical human body does not work without the linear time energy in its own creation of life and sustaining of that life as well. It must be planted into the reality in which it creates with and co-creates. Now we understand the consciousness within are able to do multitudes of energies and sharing your vibration in multiple places at times. But the deja vu energy creating the fear shows you the reflection of what we have shared, that it is not normal and it is not something that should be done great amounts of time unless your excitement takes you to that energy. If you work with this, it can upset that balance between the physical construct. This is why we have always suggested for those who are interested in projecting their physical body into different realms, it is most easily accessed and the most resonant construct with the care for your body that is required to simply astrally project into those places of time, whether it be your future or past, whether it be a future or past version of yourself as well.
All right. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about time paradoxes, which from what we're talking about, it sounds like it's not a thing. There's always been this thought experiment. What if I go back in time and kill my old grandfather, which is kind of an extreme example of it. Do you have anything to say on paradoxes, or is that not a thing in this version of time?
Yes, of course. Paradoxes exist in the way that humans would believe it exists. It closes one time loop for the expression. But as all of you are aware, the timeline possibilities for you to shift into are infinite. The twin soul plays out that part of the energy and the experience. So as you are going in to the paradox construct, of course, it will relieve itself of that specific timeline in which time traversing and, of course, murdering your own grandfather would end your own physical expression in that timeline. If you are one who believes that you are able to bend through time and practice this and allowed it to work, you could perceive this construct, but also perceive all of the possible outcomes that exist. And if you desire to stay in that reality and be with your dead grandfather in that moment, then of course you would be projected into your new version of reality, one which you would not retraverse in order to join back as your older self of a person who was not born from any other human being as well.
All right. Well, the type of people that would gravitate towards this material channeling and metaphysics at our current stage of development right now, as far as the collective is concerned, what is the best we could hope for as far as bending time and moving out of time?
Yes, of course, your fourth density hardware supports this construct, so shifting to your more permanent fourth density version would be the way to remedy the construct of going through that time expression. It is, of course, likely, as humans are doing it in this moment, there are more human beings who work with their own conscious energy, understanding, etc., and allow the forms of creation as such, but this, in its own expression of energy, be, of course, within co-create. One moment as we hydrate, Rob's rotate again.
All right.
We will also take one remaining query after your next query.
Okay. Well, I'm actually almost out of queries, but I suppose a good question would be, oh, I just had it in my mind. And now it's gone. Where do ideas go when you lose them? That's a good question. I can't think of anything right now, Art. If it really, I'm left holding the bag.
Yes, of course. As you perceive the construct of query that is not truly your own query, but one in which you find interest, can also be asserted as a part of the expression of experience, where questions go and you lose them. This construct, in fact, is a phenomenon that holds weight of consciousness behind this energy. It is a thought that is a fleeting thought for most, something that pops into their own mind quickly and dissipates as they express that experience. What has occurred with this construct is that in your now moment you are creating an energy that is at the bottom of the layers of energy that you work with more consistently. It is why it is at the edge. Sometimes there are humans who find this energy that pops into their head, as you would say, coming from the higher fractal consciousness, but again, not integrated enough into the higher fractal consciousness to fully perceive that energy. And in your projected thought, as you thought the thought originally, it goes out into that energy, time-space of co-creation of the grid system. And when you release that construct, there's always the string that remains. It is why it can possess some human thoughts to follow the pathways of their own thoughts. But you think your thought that never was deeply ingrained into your mind, and as it reaches out, it is simply the cord that attaches it is not strong, because it does not suit that now moment in your experience that is needed, required, or whatever verbiage you wish to place in this construct as well.
It's interesting and frustrating because you can feel the reality of the thought like next to your head, but you can't quite get into it. I did remember my thought, though. They say that time flies when you're having fun. Are there any methods you could share that people can use to either speed up or slow down their perception of time?
Yes, of course. The unnatural time, as you would perceive, in Earth is a construct of allowing yourself 1 second to place after another, and then, of course, 1 minute drives from the counting of all of these to 60 of those seconds. Now, when you perceive this construct, if you desire to slow down your time experience, all that would be required is to adopt a new second, one that perhaps lasts 3 times as long, one that can be firmly repetitive in your experience, and done so for weeks, months, or years before perceiving the greater effects of that consciousness. But it is a simple way to help start that process for yourself. And in order to speed time upwards, of course, it is the exact opposite, to create several seconds in 1 second. Many of you do this as a child when playing hide and go seek. You are playing with one another, and you are co-creating that energy. And when it is your turn to go find, you are told to count to 100. And you do, but of course not truly 100 seconds. Instead of your 1, 2, it is more so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is how you speed that time forward. Adopt it, practice it, behave as if it is your time, and you can experience. Now, techniques aside, and simply understanding the nature of the longer moment versus the shorter has exactly to do with what you've expressed, your state of mind in the moment. Having fun makes time fly. So of course, if you are active in your excitement, if your mind and body are moving, then of course the time speeds forward. In your sadness or boredom that occurs, then the longer hour occurs. Many of you face this in your work days, as you are working within your job to look at the calendar and express when is my own shift up. This construct is direct attention to the flow of time in which we've adopted. Changing that time allows less resistance in the construct of energy, and placing yourself as neutral as possible in your connection to these constructs also important, as it places the energy of co-creation at your own foot instead as well.
All right. Well, I think that's basically it for the topic at hand. I was curious what you thought about the painting that Carolina did in the meeting with Rob, unless you have anything else to say on tonight's topic.
Yes, of course. All things in which we have created with the topic at hand is the energy that we will share for this evening. Secondly, excitement about co-creation with Carolina, yourself, Rob, Kalina, all are of great value to our own selves. The painting, from our perspective, is more than the manifestation of the four that meet. It is the manifestation of the greater consciousness of love that was given, the construct of sharing itself. Now, if you are speaking for us, to be, as most humans would perceive, as a person who judges art, we would express that it is greatly beautiful in the heart's flowing energy to your painting expression. We will also express that the fun, the level of joy that occurs in your looking at the painting, whether it be through Rob's own eyes or from our own astral projected form, that joy that is felt is translated back into a visual construct. This is why most humans enjoy art, but we our own selves enjoy all art, as it is a part of that great excitement as well. Even those children who are told to draw something that they do not wish to draw, or do not feel as if they are able to draw, and quickly draw a stick figure. Of course, these, in our own eyes, have great joy behind translation of their joy to the visual perspective of our own. We wish to congratulate all of you in the growth that you have experienced. You are growing slow and you are asking in this moment. We perceive you as one. We perceive you as part of our own connected consciousness. This means that as we are looking upon you and you are growing, so too do we grow. We wish to express congratulations to all of you for your individual and collective growth. We wish to thank all of you for our personal and collective as well. We will bid you all adieu for this evening, and of course, William, adieu.
Adieu, Aridif.
All right, I'll go.
Pretty great. You sound really out of it.
Yeah, a little bit. I went a little deeper than normal, or maybe it's just my tiredness before we started. One of the.
Well, keep drinking, and everybody out there keep hitting the like button. Thanks for that. It was really great. We talked about time. We talked about basically time. Another one I'm going to have to listen to several times over. I never get the full experience when I'm hosting. I just can't absorb it, so I'll be listening several times tomorrow.
I'm glad it went so well. I know it always goes well with you guys, and that's great. But just to hear excitement that there's something possibly new to learn from other people, from myself too, it's wonderful.
Well, it's been great. It is now, we've been on the air for 2 hours and 13 minutes, so I don't know how you want to wrap that up, or if we should just call it.
Yeah, guys. So it's probably a wrap-up time, I'd imagine. So, yeah, I still got to get up early and go get Jeremy back from his mom's tomorrow, so I think it's a good time to call it. Yeah, it's 1:20 in the morning. So I just wanted to remind you guys how much I love you and appreciate all of you. Patreon people, I love you guys so much for being there and supporting every month. And all of you guys who aren't from Patreon, I really hope that this energy has been a good one for you, and one that you connect with, and one that gives you insight on something. And like I said, after baby starts healing from her procedure, and Jeremy goes to his mom's the weekend after she's healed, and that happens, I'll be on a weekend sometime and join you and say hi and do some channeling and all that good stuff. Oh, yes, also, please, guys, don't forget to fill out your question if you haven't yet. It's the post below this post for tonight, the one that asks for suggestions and has the form. So put those in so your question doesn't get missed on its chance to get called. And 15 minutes, or not 15 minutes, I'm sorry, 3 questions at the end of the night. Be there, guys, and keep your eyes peeled. We'll lay it all out again on Patreon once we're at that point, you know.
Yeah, and if there's people out there, and I'm sure because I didn't change the setting to private tonight, there's people out there that are not members of Patreon. Consider joining because, like clockwork, we have been on the ball the 15th and 30th of every month for several months now. We have not missed a single appointment.
Yes, that's true, and also, just the fact that everything's gone in that way is great. But we've also, what was I gonna say? I can't remember now.
I don't know. You sound really bad, Rob. You should go to sleep.
My eyes are almost closed, as if I'm trying to go to sleep right now. Um, what I was gonna say was, oh yeah, we've done this for several months on time, but we've also got lots of months we didn't do on time. So if you guys are new on Patreon, remember the archives. You can go back almost the whole 3 years we've been on. It's almost been 3 years, guys, we've been on Patreon. So all the monthly stuff, all the extra stuff, all that stuff, you go by looking at, I believe it's patreon.com/etwhispers/ I want to say videos, but it's not post. Yeah, post. It's on the tab too on the cell phone app, and yeah, so you guys can find it. You know where it's at. Anyway, guys, I am tired, absolutely exhausted, and I think it is my bedtime. So I'm going to tell you guys how much I love you again. I love you too, brother. It was so good to be able to see you face to face.
I know that was a really weird experience, but great.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I forgot I was going to tell that story too. I get out of the car, and William's there. He's like, "Man, you're big. You're tall." And how tall are you? And I said, about 6'1", 6'2". And Kalina's like, "Hey, you didn't comment on how tall I was," or something like that. And William looks at her and goes, "No." It was great. It was the best thing. Because Kalina's like 5'4". She comes up to my shoulder. She's adorable.
Yeah, you should be into like wrestling or football or something like that.
Yeah. I used to do mixed martial arts, and I used to do football back in high school, like everybody else played football in high school. But yeah, mixed martial arts was my jam. I still like it. I just don't watch it very much anymore because I don't really know who's out there doing it much, and watching it's less fun than doing it. But yeah. What else was I gonna say? There was one other thing I had to say, and I'm really not thinking what it was. Oh yeah, Carolina. Thank you if you're still here. Thank you so much for the painting. It's amazing. It looks great. It really is something that I will cherish forever. And Kalina and me really got so happy to be able to meet you too yesterday in person. So we love you guys. You and Carolina, William, and we love all of you guys too. Thank you for coming in tonight and all that good stuff. And I am going to shut my mouth and probably shut my eyes for the night.
All right, well, I'm going to mute you down and I'm going to carry the show out, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, love you guys.
All right, everybody, that was our show for tonight. It is now 1:29 a.m. Eastern Time, November 16th, 2020. What is it, Monday morning now? I got to start my week after another long night with the ET Whisperer. We've been on the air for 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 2 seconds. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. If you got in because I didn't change the setting to private, welcome. It's a special treat for everybody tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please consider supporting Rob on Patreon so you get access to these all the time, not just when I make mistakes. And also, please hit the like button if you're listening to this right now. Again, I am William of Fincastle Underground, guest hosting the ET Whisperers monthly Patreon poll. Enjoy the new moon in Scorpio, guys. Have fun.